Look at this face. Really look at it. This isn't a monster from a horror movie. This isn't a creature from an alien planet. This is a real animal living right now in our oceans. And its face wasn't designed by nightmare or accident. Every grotesque feature, every terrifying detail, every seemingly impossible adaptation has a reason, a purpose, a story written in millions of years of evolutionary pressure. We live on a planet where we've mapped distant galaxies, where we've sent robots to Mars, where we can see storms on Jupiter. And yet, less than 6,000 feet below the surface of our own oceans lies a world more alien than anything in space. A world of complete darkness, crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and in this world, faces don't follow the rules we understand. Down there, eyes become telescopes. Jaws unhinge like snakes on steroids. Teeth grow longer than the fish's own body. Bioluminescent lures dangle from foreheads like living fishing rods. And some fish have no faces at all, just gaping mouths in the darkness waiting. Why? What evolutionary forces create faces so bizarre they seem impossible? What does it take to survive in a place where a single meal might be your last for months? And what can these nightmare faces teach us about the true limits of life on Earth? Today, we're diving into the abyss, and we're going to understand once and for all why deep-sea fish look the way they do. The piscine firmament. To understand why deep-sea fish have such bizarre faces, we first need to understand where they live. Because the deep sea isn't just underwater, it's one of the most extreme environments on Earth, more hostile than deserts, more brutal than Arctic tundras, more alien than anything we've encountered beyond our atmosphere. Let's start with depth. The ocean's deepest point, the Mariana Trench, plunges nearly 36,000 feet down. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. But you don't need to go that far to enter the deep sea. Scientists generally define the deep sea as anything below 200 meters, about 660 feet. That's where sunlight can no longer penetrate, where photosynthesis becomes impossible, where the rules of life fundamentally change. And here's what makes it so extreme. Pressure at the surface. Atmospheric pressure is about 14.7 pounds per square inch. We don't notice it because we evolved in it. But for every 33 feet you descend in the ocean, pressure increases by another atmosphere. At 3,300 feet, you're experiencing 100 atmospheres of pressure. At the Mariana Trench, over 1,000 atmospheres. That's 16,000 pounds per square inch. Imagine 1,000 elephants standing on a postage stamp. That's what deep-sea fish experience every moment of their lives. For humans, this is instantly fatal. The pressure would collapse our lungs, crush our chest cavity, compress the air in our bodies until we simply cease to exist as recognizable organisms. With deep-sea fish, they've evolved bodies where this doesn't matter. No air spaces to collapse. Gel-filled bodies. Flexible bones. They live in equilibrium with the pressure, their internal and external pressures balanced. But this comes with costs. Costs that show on their faces. Temperature. The deep sea is cold. Not Arctic surface cold, but consistent, eternal cold. Most of the deep ocean hovers between 2–4 degrees Celsius, just above freezing. This cold slows everything down. Metabolism, movement, growth. Deep-sea fish live in slow motion compared to surface fish. Some grow so slowly they might take decades to reach maturity. Some live for centuries. And this metabolic slowdown shapes their faces in profound ways. Darkness. This is the big one. Below 1,000 meters, sunlight is completely absent. Not dim, not filtered. Absent. Total, complete, absolute darkness. The only light comes from bioluminescence, the living light produced by organisms themselves. And in this darkness, vision becomes both critically important and almost useless. Think about that paradox. In complete darkness, what good are eyes? And yet many deep-sea fish have evolved the largest eyes relative to body size of any vertebrate on Earth. Others have lost their eyes entirely, and still others have evolved eyes so specialized they can see only one specific wavelength of light. Their faces reflect these extreme visual adaptations. Food scarcity. Here's the most important factor. The deep sea is a food desert. Photosynthesis doesn't happen. Plants don't grow. The only food source is marine snow, tiny particles of organic matter drifting down from the surface world. Dead plankton, fecal pellets, fragments of larger animals. It drifts down in an endless, sparse rain, feeding a food web so fragile that most deep-sea animals go weeks or months between meals. When you're starving in permanent darkness, your face becomes a tool, a weapon, a trap. And evolution optimizes it for one purpose. Don't miss the next meal, because there might not be another. These environmental pressure, cold, darkness, starvation, acting together over millions of years, sculpted the bizarre faces we see in deep-sea fish. Every grotesque feature is an answer to a specific problem. Every nightmare adaptation is a survival strategy. And once you understand the problems, the faces start to make sense. Let's look at specific adaptations, starting with the most important sense in the deep sea, vision. Ease in the abyss. In total darkness, you'd think eyes would be useless. Evolution tends to eliminate features that don't provide benefits. They're metabolically expensive to maintain. And yet, deep-sea fish have some of the most extraordinary eyes in the animal kingdom. Eyes that look nothing like ours. Eyes that seem to violate the basic rules of optics. Eyes that, when you first see them, look like mistakes. But they're not mistakes. They're masterpieces. Tubular eyes, the deep-sea telescopes. Let's start with barreleye fish, members of the family Obistoproctidae. When scientists first captured these fish, they were baffled. The fish had cylindrical eyes, tubes pointing upward, fixed in place inside a transparent dome of a skull. You could literally see through the top of their heads to the eyes inside, pointing toward the surface. Why would evolution create such a bizarre structure? The answer is light collection. In the deep sea, even the faintest glimmer of bioluminescence is precious information. Tubular eyes work like telescopes, gathering and focusing dim light. The long tube increases the distance between the lens and the retina, allowing for greater magnification and light sensitivity. These fish are looking for silhouettes, shadows of prey swimming above them, backlit by the faint bioluminescence of other organisms. But there's a problem. Fixed upward-pointing eyes give you tunnel vision. You can't look forward. You can't look to the sides. You can only see what's directly above you. For decades, scientists assumed barreleye were specialized ambush predators, sitting still and waiting for prey to drift overhead. Then, in 2009, researchers captured live barreleye on camera for the first time. And they discovered something shocking. The eyes rotate. Inside that transparent dome, the tubular eyes can pivot, allowing the fish to look forward when swimming, then up when hunting. This is engineering. Biological engineering, solving a problem. Limited field of view with a mechanical solution, rotating eyes inside a protective, transparent housing. The face looks bizarre because it's solving a problem we don't have. We don't hunt in near total darkness for bioluminescent prey. But if we did, we might evolve similar solutions. Giant eyes, light gathering, amplification. Other deep-sea fish took a different approach. Make the eyes huge, absolutely massive. The giant squid has eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. But fish get disproportionately huge eyes too. Big-eye fish, various species in the family Priacanthidae and others, have eyes that can make up 20% of their head volume. In humans, that would be like having eyes the size of grapefruits. Why so big? Physics. The amount of light an eye can gather is proportional to the area of the pupil. Bigger pupil, more light. But there are limits. If you make the eye bigger, You also need a bigger retina to maintain resolution. You need more neurons to process the visual information. You need more blood supply. The metabolic cost skyrockets. Deep-sea fish accept this cost because the alternative is blindness, and blindness in the deep sea is death. So their faces become dominated by enormous eyes, sometimes so large the skull has to develop special adaptations to house them. The bones thin. The jaw muscles shift. The face reconstructs itself around the priority of vision.